Very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to Monday, the 1st of April edition of Logan's European Outlook. Hope everybody is safe and well, whatever you're up to, and continuing to enjoy the long Easter weekend, whether you're working or whether you're off and spending time with friends or family. Whatever you're up to, I would like to wish you a happy Easter, all of you. Now, the April Outlook is now freely available on marfloganweather.com. There is a link in the description below for that if you are so inclined to read through that. There is plenty on there, including the early March stats, which I think the Met Office will release tomorrow, the official summary for March 2024. But it follows in sync with what has been a very dominant, low pressure dominated spell over the last 9 months or so, and April will turn out. Sorry, not April. March will turn out wetter than average, milder, especially for England and Wales, and also duller than average as well. And I do happen to say at the beginning of the ideas for April, do we have a soggy start but a drier end to April? That is going to be the question. But before we look at the longer range, I want to look at the current situation. So this is the visible satellite across western fringes of Europe. At the time of recording, you can see here that we've got plenty of convective showers and thunderstorms even across parts of central and southern England and Wales. We've got a centre of low pressure here just to the southwest of Ireland. That has been dominating the UK and Ireland for the last 8 days, believe it or not. So we've had one low with 8 days of weather associated directly with that area of low pressure. Further south, we've got more in the way of sun and shower activity across the Iberian Peninsula, and over France, we've got a lot of convective showers and embedded thunderstorms. Also, further east, it has been all about record-breaking warm temperatures. This is the current radar of weather online. You can see there's plenty of wet weather across parts of northwestern England, southern Scotland, generally to the south of the central belt. We've got some heavy showers just off the off Kintyre, Islay, and to the north of Northern Ireland. Shower activity across the eastern counties of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well. And we've got those showers and thunderstorms across mid Wales, parts of the Midlands, and down into southern England. Southwestern England as well has got plenty of showers, and also into northern France. This is the current temperatures also at the time of recording, so it's the back of 5 p.m. and we've got some relative cool conditions through the spine of Europe here, mild across the Low Countries into France even, and then we've also got some relative cool across northern portions of Iberia, especially where you've got showers and thunderstorms, but cool temperatures overall compared to last week where we had temperatures as high as 33 in parts of Portugal and Spain. We've only got 17 and 18, possibly a 20 somewhere at the very best. But to the east, we've got some very, very warm conditions. As you can see here, temperatures approaching 30 Celsius in parts of Ukraine, Moldova, into Romania and Bulgaria as well. Western portions of Turkey, we've seen temperatures into the mid 30s, believe it or not, in recent days. We'll look at that in just a second here. So you can see this is the 500 millibar geopotential height anomaly pattern for the last 9 months. This is a tweet here by KD Bradshaw showing the low pressure dominance since the beginning of July last year all the way through till the end of March. That is a rather ugly looking 500 millibar pattern for sure. And you can see this is the sea level pressure anomaly here compared to average for the same time frame. So no real surprise. El Nino, warmer than average sea surface temperatures, and other factors as well has likely been the reason behind this persistently wet pattern. Now remember, we have had a couple of spells of drier in between this period, but overall it has just been one area of low pressure after another, month after month of wetter than average conditions, and it is essentially taken its toll, in my opinion, here in the UK and Ireland here. It's actually been somewhat drier the further north you go up into northwestern Scotland. We've had drier than average conditions here. But this was also an interesting tweet by Jaroslaw, I think is how you would pronounce this chap's name. I think he's Polish. But we've got basically the Alps becoming going from Earth mode to Mars mode in the space of a day. So this is a contrast with that Saharan dust area of low pressure over the central Mediterranean, southern Europe, has been drawn a lot of Saharan dust up the eastern side of that circulation and across central and eastern Europe in recent days. Over the course of the weekend, skies turned that kind of reddy, sandy colour, which some pretty dramatic scenes actually produced by that. And this is also an interesting tweet by Dan Harris, the Met Office, showing that his particular location in Devon has exceeded 100 millimetres of rain 7 out of the past 8 months, which is pretty remarkable actually when you consider that. And many places across, particularly England and Wales, more so than Scotland, has seen exceptional amounts of rain over the last 7, 8, 9 months. But also we've got record-breaking warm temperatures in the past few days here. These are tweets here by Thierry Goose, based in Vancouver, Canada. And you can see the nations that have recorded an all-time March record. This is national records, by the way. So Moldova, 29.7, Albania, 29.6, Croatia, Belarus, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, all recording their hottest March days ever recorded, which is pretty amazing actually when you think about that in over the last couple of days. And we continue to see that warm theme at the moment. Temperatures will ease off actually in the next few days as a cold front moves east. But are we going to get any break in this rainy pattern as we move through the month of April? Certainly, if you look at the CFSV2, the next 7 days is still firmly wetter than average. Low pressure, one after the other, is going to be moving in from a southwesterly direction, which is a warm direction as well. So warmer and wetter than average is going to be the dominant theme. Now you can see that in the April forecast with the link in the description below, that we are going to maintain this wet theme through at least the first half of April. This is week 2 of the CFSV2. Week 3 still continuing to be wetter than average. Further north, if you notice here, we're slightly drier than average. And then it looks as if rainfall may ease off, but still looking average to above average, even for the final week to 10 days of the month. It looks as if it's going to remain wetter than average. Now, if we look at the 500 millibar anomalies here for week 1, you can see that we've got a very, very deep negative centered just in the southwest of the UK with a strong ridge over southeastern Europe here. That means that in the means we're going to continue with that southwesterly flow, warmer than average and wetter than average, I'm afraid, is going to be the dominant theme. Now, I did mention in the April forecast that with the possibility of the MJO rotating through phases 2, 3 into 4 and 5, but you notice it ends up in the null phase, which means we've got potentially less influence of the MJO as it rotates in through the continental maritime region, Northern Australia, Indonesia, Southeastern Asia. That means that we may not see as much of an influence, but with a phase 4 into 5, does that suggest that we get more region building from, say, for example, northwestern Africa up into southwestern Europe and possibly nosing its way up towards our neck of the woods, which would suggest possibly a warmer and drier theme? Now, I think we are going to maintain this warmer than average theme, especially the further south you are in the UK. So this is rainfall off the GFS operational for the next 17 days, and you can see that we've got some very wet conditions, particularly so in areas that are susceptible to that southwesterly flow. So parts of southern Ireland may see upwards of 180 to 200 millimetres of rainfall in the south of the country over the next 17 days. We've also got well in excess of 100 millimetres fallen across quite a large area of Western Wales. If you notice, wet conditions down across Devon and Cornwall as well, northwestern England and southwestern Scotland. We also have an area of the Southern Highlands that could see some in excess of 100 millimetres of rain over the next 17 days as well. So yeah, looking at the temperature anomaly. So this is the upcoming 7 days of the CFSV2. This is the following 7 day period, and you notice here that there's just a subtle shift in the low, and that being that we've got actually building heights across northwestern Africa up into Iberia. That could be some response to a phase 4 into 5 of the MJO. That then lifts the core of the trough a little bit to the north, but stays to the west. Therefore, we have that continuation of an Atlantic dominated pattern. Week 3, you can see low pressure remains in control. Not as strong, but nonetheless, low pressure remains the dominant player. And then as we move towards the period 22nd through the 29th of April, we lose the deep negative. But this is all the way out to the end of April. And you can see the overall situation. As we look at the 2 metre temperature anomalies here, warm is going to be the theme, I think. But look at northern Scotland. This is going to be an interesting next few days, by the way, because we've got colder air trying to draw south. We've also got warmer air trying to lift north as well. We may see some opportunities as that moisture runs into the colder air, especially across the Highlands. We may see some interesting wintry threats, especially over high road routes across the northern half of the British Isles through the next week or so. But then, as you notice here, of the CFSV2, it maintains that warmer than average theme. And I think it's hard to really argue with that solution by the CFSV2, in my opinion, anyway. So I don't think we're going to see any real change. Now, let's have a look and see what the model is showing here of the GFS for the next week or so here. So this is the overview, and we've got the continuation of this messy theme. Now we've got high pressure building up over Greenland here. That continues to have that south displaced jet stream. You can see all that area of low pressure, especially across parts of southwestern Europe here. We're starting to dry things out after what has been a very, very unsettled Easter weekend down across Spain and Portugal. We're starting to see height rises across this region of the continent here, but we do have another frontal system moving in associated with that low that moves in during the course of tomorrow. We've got an attached frontal system that is going to bring more heavy rain, thunderstorms, possible local flooding across parts of France, Spain, and Portugal here. And as I said, with that building high over Greenland and between Scandinavia and Greenland itself, we've actually got colder air getting drawn south into the northern half of the UK. So this area of low pressure is going to then resist that southward progress of cold air, because winds around this low is going to be coming up from a southerly direction, meaning we've got milder 850 temperatures coming in. But with the cold air drifting down over Scotland, that precipitation meets the cold air. We could see some heavy snow breaking out during the course of Wednesday. And you can see that here. But look at this here. Look at while that low is bringing more heavy rainfall to the UK, gusty winds associated with the frontal system, we've got not one but two areas of low pressure waiting in the wings, ganging up, ready to move in after this feature moves through. And this just reinforces the wet pattern. So unfortunately, I don't have any great news on the horizon with regards to this weather. There's the next system moving into the southern UK later this week. Notice here that centre of low pressure is slightly to the east of the British Isles, east of Scotland. Therefore, it's kind of allowing some of that cold just lingering to the north of the mainland to get drawn in with the circulation, and we could see some interesting weather across mid to high ground during the latter half of this week. So that then, all that mess then clears through. We get a very brief break in the weather. We may have a little bit of a chilly start to Friday morning, but look at this here. There's the next system that is going to spread heavy rain, hill snow all the way up through the UK during the latter half of Friday, and then it's followed by yet another area of low pressure by the time we reach the weekend here. So it just looks as if it's going to be the continuation of low pressure domination up until at least the first 10 days of April. And then you can see here that there may be a possibility of something slackening off. But again, look at this here. Saturday the 13th. This is all the way to a week on Saturday. Long time away. The GFS continues to see low pressure dominating our weather pattern here. So yeah, I'm afraid I'm the bringing you further negative news, unfortunately, when it comes to the weather, and I don't really see much change on the horizon. So thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow with more miserable weather updates. Bye for now.